Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's the Pest and Lawn Ginja, and this is What's Wrong With My Lawn? Special edition homeowner walkthrough. Let's get to it. Now, on this episode of What's Wrong With My Lawn, I'm going to give you the bird's eye approach. We're going to walk somebody through their own lawn. Now, I got approached by this individual. Their front yard was just recently hydroseeded a month ago, and this is a common problem a lot of you guys have out there. They're inundated with weeds. I haven't yet seen the lawn. Let's get to it. Well, guys, I got an email that touched me. It said somebody actually thought I was special. It's his birthday, Dennis. It's your birthday today. So we're gonna come out and say hi, Dennis. I brought a special guest, and he's sitting in the back seat here. Hey, Big Ned. Say hi to Dennis.
Dennis Daly?
That's Big Ned is his birthday present, but be there in 10 minutes, Dennis. We're coming. All right, we're just getting here to Dennis's house, and holy sheesh, he's got a ton of weeds. I mean, Dennis, this is pretty impressive. You got a little bit of everything here. Let's go knock on the door. Easy, killer.
Hello, hey.
Dennis, how are you, man?
Good, how are you?
Good. Got some killer dogs. I love it.
Come on in.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Brought a little bit of a surprise.
Oh.
Come on, Big Ned.
Big Ned. Awesome. Hey, wow.
See, Ned don't care. That's the problem. That's just how he came in this world. Walk us through your lawn.
Hello. So, about a month ago, or well, a little over a month ago, June 6th, we had this hydroseeded. So this is what it's looking like now. And actually, it was just watered a little bit ago, so that's why it's a little squishy.
Yeah.
So,
It's looking good, man, but you have the biggest weed farm I've ever seen.
yeah, it's a lot. They say it helps to make the grass grow, but I don't know how the weeds would help the grass grow. Is that
Kind of a
true?
sales tactic. It's more of a filler
Right.
than anything. So Mother Nature just doesn't like being naked. One way or another, she's gonna do her thing.
Right.
But it all depends on the blend of grass that you have, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, I mean, you've got some dog fennel, purslane, you've got some foxtails, you've got orchard grass. Well, this looks like Johnson grass. Never mind. I can see right here. You can see how thick it comes off of that little skinny vine right there. That's typical Johnson grass.
Is that what these really thick
Yes.
stalks are that are coming up?
Yes. Now that is a perennial grass, so it's not necessarily just going to go away.
Oh, okay.
I see common mallow in here. I see, geez, what is that? Bindweed, morning glory. I mean, this is awesome. This is a lot. Let's get into this patch real quick.
It's like a museum of...
So this right here is your blue, and that's Ned Butt, which is awesome. But yeah, we've got the bluegrass here, and then this right here is the rye. So it looks like you have a blue rye mix.
Okay.
Would be my best guess without seeing the bag.
That's what makes me think that some of the stuff that the dense weed stuff is stuff that was in the ground before they hydroseeded.
Oh yeah, it was all on the ground. This is pretty typical of not prepping the soil.
Oh,
So in my opinion, what I would have done is, a lot of people would get into tilling, and the reason being is because you basically unearth the other seed
right.
to help it not germinate, or if it was in the process of germination, it stops the rooting.
Okay.
And so this is where like Tenacity applications would have been stellar.
Before.
Yeah, so the active ingredient is called mesotrione, and the only thing that it really does is it's an anti-germinator, but it's selective, which is amazing that they even figured this out. So your ryegrass and your bluegrass still would have germinated, but all these other weeds you wouldn't have had a problem with. Surprisingly, I'm pretty happy with the way that the bluegrass is coming in, because it's not typical that you see bluegrass this thick, this quick. There's a lot more bluegrass in here than we know. But it usually, like, even before you really want to get into like chemical sides, it's about a year that you just want to leave this alone and just
So not do anything this fall even?
You generally don't want to hit like weed control for the first like 6 months of a hydroseed.
Oh, okay.
Like, the problem is you increase the salt, it affects the grass. Ideally, we'd want to just pick out the weeds, but
it's a lot of work. I would worry about this, how dense the weeds are here. Are they going to crowd out the grass?
yeah, so I mean, that's a fantastic question. I guess the question really is do you start now on the weeds or do you wait till next year, right? The sales pitch is that this is all going to thicken up and that the weeds are just going to somehow go away.
Right.
In my experience, that doesn't work that way. So, yeah, we're going to have to take a little bit of a chance and we're going to have to treat it. Now, I still think that Tenacity is our best bet.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd like to wait. I know that sounds crazy. But when was your first mow?
It's been a few weeks.
Been hand pulling weeds in the backyard,
Awesome.
which I've been trying to tell them it's such a great thing to do.
Let's go look at it.
You know, the organic.
Yeah, so the backyard's doing much better than the front, that's for sure. We've got some watering problems, but I mean, was this grass was here before, right?
This is from last year.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
was
so
it the same seed blend or different?
No, this is just a seed blend from Home Depot.
Okay, so if we go through my
Scott's maybe.
If we go through my 5-step approach real quick, the color and the pattern are my tell signs, right? So this is your typical brown color with a random pattern. So these patterns around the edges, they're a little bit round and whatnot, which typically tells me that you've got sprinkler coverage issues.
Yeah, and I just noticed there's a center one on this line by the dirt that wasn't spraying right, and so I just fixed that one.
Right. So go ahead and tug on the grass, and the only thing we're doing here is just,
Yeah, that's really strong.
right? So typically what we're doing is we're looking for turf insect issues, and you just take that bear claw and you just tug on it and just do random corners, random edges.
I mean, I'm ripping the grass.
Yeah, we don't want to rip it.
It's not ripping up. It's not pulling up by the roots.
Yeah, strong men like you can do whatever they want. I mean, if you're going to rip the grass, you're going to rip the grass.
Right.
So that's obviously not the point of the exercise.
Right.
The grass being this new, we obviously know we don't really have a debris issue. A lot of these areas where they're turning orange, dog urine.
Yeah, these are, and I think that over the winter, this was...
For the record, Ned did not contribute to this dog urine.
Well, and then once, I think once it got hot, this just died right away. It looked okay in the spring, but it might have just been because we were getting enough water or something, but...
Yeah, so these patterns right here, obviously dog urine spot, but once we get over to this pattern right here, you can kind of see the heat stress coming around the edges, around the outer edges. And that's pretty classic case water. It's stress dormancy. So the brown that it's starting to exhibit is because it's putting itself to sleep.
I've heard that term. It's basically in the middle of the day, syringing the lawn, spraying it so that you get like a 1/4 inch.
Oh, you're talking to like at noonday.
Yeah,
you come
just
out and just do a random water
when it's hot. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of controversial things to that. Like some people say, oh, the water's gonna boil and whatnot, or it's gonna make the base of the roots really soft. It doesn't. It's just like rain. There's a lot of misnomers.
Right.
If the rain comes down, it's not gonna boil and kill your grass.
Right.
It is a good way to cool it down. The controversy behind it is do you really want to shock it from going from 100 degrees back down to 65,
Right.
and then back up to 100 degrees?
As soon as it dries up.
Right.
Yeah.
So my suggestion to people that want to do that, because I don't have any scientific data either way to support it, other than the fact that if the humidity levels are high, you could potentially give yourself a fungus. But at our elevation, that's really low from that happening. So if you are going to do that, I would probably do that or at the hottest peak of the day, which is about 4 o'clock for us.
Okay.
So, and that'll cool it down just a tad. But your dogs are your biggest enemy right now.
Yeah.
Even this area here?
That's all dog.
That's all dog?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Let me grab my soil probe and we'll probe it up. All right, so the soil probe has decided that that area is dry. And that little piece right there, almost where Big Net is, right there, that's dry. And everything else, we've got fixed. So the question that Dennis had, which is a really relevant question, is how do you get grass or keep it out of stress dormancy, right? Or how do we push it out? Look at that. It's Dennis's birthday and I'm the one that got the present.
You're the present.
So the question is how do we kick this out of drought stress dormancy, right?
Right, yeah.
So this time of the year, it's 100 degrees out. You can do it the slow way, which is revive. It's a 5% nitrogen and 1% phosphorus and potassium.
Mm-hmm.
It'll kick it out in about 10, 12 days. It's basically just chicken poop.
Right.
Pulls it straight out of stress dormancy. Now, the way that I like to do it is I actually like to use micronutrients with my Essentials 101, which has the Sea Kelp to Humic in it. But it goes so fast. Like, I really haven't seen a product pull it out. The only problem with it is the nitrogen content's too low. So it's not going to force the growth to get it out when it's 100 degrees like it is now.
But is that a good thing because you don't want it to grow that much when it's hot out? Or?
Well, it put itself to sleep to protect itself, right?
Right.
And it'll stay this way for about 3 to 5 weeks on average before you really even have to worry about it. But at the same time, is like the sooner you can start rebuilding the area, the faster it's going to be thicker. And the thicker the grass, the healthier the grass. You retain water. It's a whole cascading cycle.
Okay.
So it's a fantastic question. As for the front yard, the tremendous amount of weeds that you have, yeah, you're going to want to look at our calcium levels. And since we are high pH, we're going to want to just start shoving in, gypsum or calcium sulfate.
Okay.
Is going to be the best thing. But we want to be very non-invasive. So the feedings that we're going to want to do, like if we were to put together a plan, is we want a very slow feeding nitrogen at this point. Very slow.
Okay.
So Propeat sells a 1358. They call it a carbon 90 because it's a slow releasing 90-day plan.
Okay.
So if you did that at 13%, at a quarter of a pound or even half a pound of N over 90 days, that would last you almost the whole summer. And it's got peat moss in it, so it's going to help retain water too, which is what we want this time of the year. So the 1-2 punch is we need to work on the calcium, and we also need to work on our micronutrient levels too. So our area is notoriously low in zinc and molybdenum and magnesium.
Okay.
So those are the three that we want to pay attention to.
Okay.
Is that the did you say micros?
Yeah, so our macros are going to be our nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and calcium is a secondary macro. And then our minors or micronutrients, that's going to be your zinc, your molybdenum, your manganese, your, what are our top 7? Boron, cobalt, and chlorine is kind of a funny one.
We saw your video at IFA.
Yeah.
Their little bags. That's what you're talking
Yeah, that little micro pack, that would do you guys well.
Really? Okay.
Yep. So
For
if
the
you
front and the back, or are you mostly talking front now?
mostly both.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we really just need to rebuild this. I mean, this is pure Kentucky bluegrass here.
Okay.
What blend they have in the front, I'm still undetermined. It's just so young. It's hard to tell. It's possible that I'm wrong and they don't have ryegrass in it and that it's pure blue, but the way that the blue is reacting there, I'd be surprised.
Okay.
So, and having a blue with a rye, it comes in real thick, color's good, so it's not necessarily a bad thing at all. It'll come in real nice and real rich and real colorful. It's just we're a little spoiled here. Everybody does a pure Kentucky blue blend. To introduce rye in it, not a big deal, and it'll keep it thick. And
So we've done some good stuff and some bad stuff.
you guys didn't do anything wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, we'll talk about the game plan. The game plan is, let's focus on the watering. Let's get all the heads lined up properly, do that water output cup test. Right now in our area, we're 1.75 inches to 2 inches per week fighting with evaporation because we're at 90 to 100 degrees. So that's what makes it really, really tough. So step number one, it always starts with water. Step two, let's just keep following that normal fertilizer regimen that they have you on due to the hydroseed. Step three, just like we talked about earlier, is picking plants, your favorite thing to do. We're gonna pick out the big ones like this Johnson grass that we have here. I mean, it's nice and healthy, but we need to pick these out. And then, as a last resort, spot spray with Tenacity mixed with T-Zone or Speed Zone from PBI Gordon.
Okay.
So don't forget that non-ionic surfactant, but makes sense, Dennis. Happy birthday to you.
All right, well, thank you.
You share a birthday with my grandma. That's why I came out here. She's good people. So it should be good. But yeah, man. Any questions or concerns, you hit me up.
All right,
Let me know.
All right,
All right. See ya. All right, Big Ned, back in the car.